we needed a tank because a tank could have gone from the airfield to any crash site in the city within 5 minutes, maybe 10. Request goes all the way up the chain of command, gets to SecDef, who says no. Why? For political reasons. I've been argued by other people within our community that the AC-130s wouldn't have made a difference. Sorry, fellas, you're freaking wrong. I told you earlier, Matt Ryerson would still be alive if one of these decisions had been made differently.
How many times throughout history our politicians and bureaucrats have abandoned commandos and left them to die?
You're at, well,
no accountability for the politicians in this country. There never has been, and there probably never will be. They just want in the admin. They just want in the administration. You give them a broom, they would love it.
What it meant to us was, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know, we're going into all parts of the city, day, night, lots of aircraft, stationary. You know, when you're putting operators on the target, if you're fast roping, you're hovering up in the air. I mean, you could be engaged by anybody within range.
Duck.
Yeah, absolutely. And we recognize that. And normally, with the assets we had on hand, we would, if we lost a bird, we have a search and rescue helicopter dedicated to recovering the crew, getting, security and medics on the site as soon as you can. But they're going to have to fast rope too. So if you do that, this guy just gets shot down and you put another one right, what do you think's going to happen to that bird? Same freaking thing, right? Well, I wish I could take credit for it. I can't. I don't know whose idea it was, but somebody raised the flag and said, that's a dumbass contingency. We need another solution. And we concluded, we, general term, not me, that we needed a tank because a tank could have gone from the airfield to any crash site in the city within 5 minutes, maybe 10. Request goes all the way up the chain of command, gets to SecDef, who says no. Why? Not because we don't have tanks all over the world. I've talked to so many tankers since then because they were put on standby. Somehow they knew that there was a potential they were going to be called upon to go. And they were, every single one I've spoken to said, we couldn't freaking wait. I mean, we wanted to go. We would have absolutely been able to go through those streets. We would have got to you guys. We were ready to rock and roll. And SecDef says no. And it's for political reasons. We took the forces out. We went from 38,000 to 1,500. That appeases the American people who don't want to be in a conflict. We took all the armor out. We took all the AC-130s out. And I've been argued by other people within our community that the AC-130s wouldn't have made a difference. Sorry, fellas, you're freaking wrong. They would have made a difference, okay? Because I was in captivity when they came back, and the Somalis were scared to death of them. And by the way, that's kind of what you want. You want your enemy to be scared to death of the assets that you have. So anyway, we asked...
What was the political reason? Do you know?
Well, because we had been pulling shit out. And Aspen's like, we're telling the American people we're cleaning this up. We're about to finish. We're not sending shit back in. That was his rationale. And there's a letter that just got released within the last 2 years from one of the generals on the ground in Somalia to the leadership in Washington saying, we don't have control of the situation. Something bad's going to happen. And we need more assets, or we need to say, we're done. I mean, which, if the priority wasn't high enough to give us more assets, then get us the hell out. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't give us a mission and then not give us the shit we need to be successful in that mission. So there's three things, and I want to make sure I don't forget about this, because to me, this is what motivates me to keep talking about this thing. There are there's four things that we got screwed over on. I haven't mentioned this yet, but we asked for an aircraft carrier. Why do we want a carrier? 2 reasons. Force protection. If you're at sea, the Somalis have nothing to touch us. Nothing. I told you earlier, Matt Ryerson would still be alive if one of these decisions had been made differently, that's the decision. If Matt's on a carrier, that mortar never comes anywhere close to him. But he dies after October 3rd, standing in the compound, because we're right there. The freaking bad guys are less than 100 yards from us because we're told no for the carrier. We got to live on the airfield. AC-130, firepower. There's no such thing as too much firepower. I mean, that's a fundamental truth. Tanks. Using another helicopter for search and rescue in an urban environment in the daytime is a bad idea. We wanted a tank. We got told no. And the last one, I don't really understand the technology, but it's counter battery fire. Basically, you can calculate the projectile that's inbound, calculate its location, and more effectively place counterfire on that. We asked for that too, because they've been mortaring us almost every day the whole time. And, we're sandbagging the aircraft, we're moving shit around, but we're living in a freaking...
It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy.
How many times throughout history our politicians and bureaucrats have fucking abandoned commandos and left them to die? It is fucking asinine.
It's very troubling. And yet we keep going to do it, and we always will. And God bless those who still serve and still do it. But man, it pisses you off. There's a quote.
There is never, ever any accountability for this shit either.
You're at, well,
no accountability for the fucking politicians in this country. There never fucking has been, and there probably never will be.
Well, it will come full circle on Les Aspen. And
Man.
he's another human being. I don't wish him ill, but he ends up dying. And people that know him, and we're getting ahead here, but I'll go ahead and finish this thought. They flew me down to brag for the Delta Memorial. And you've been there. You've been there when the boots and the weapon and the helmet and the goggles are there representing the fallen, and the families are there, and we're all there, and Les Aspen walks in. I don't think he was, well, I know he wasn't prepared. I don't think he'd ever seen anything like it in his life. I don't think he ever saw this as anything but a chess match, and a political chess match. And when you could see it. You could see the look on his face when he walked in that room and he realized, we fucked this up. As civilian,
Who was Les Aspen?
he was a sec def. And why the hell Clinton picked him as a sec def is beyond me. He had a reputation as being anti-military, I think. Again, I'm not a PhD on every politician that's ever worked in the administration, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But
These people don't give a fuck about their slot.
no,
They just want the power. I
yeah.
saw it in this last administration. These people are so fucking hungry for power. They don't give a fuck where they get placed. They just want in the admin. They just want in the administration. You give them a fucking broom, they would love it.
I agree.
They know they're not the best place. It's disgusting. It's another discussion. I don't want to pollute the interview.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
No, and you should be upset. We should all be upset that this is how it works. But I will say that, visibly, you could see some switch flipped in him. And there are friends of his that said, and I don't know if it's true, but I've read this, that he physically, he died. Not long after. I don't remember. Maybe it was years, but he was supposedly never the same. But anyway, regardless.
Died of what?
I don't know, natural causes. I'm not sure. He didn't take his own life, but they just don't get it. To your point,
have no sympathy for these fucking
well,
pieces.
to your point, he just didn't get it. He didn't understand that this is real. These are people with their lives on the line, and your responsibility as civilian leadership is to give them everything they need to be successful.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.